The rain-slicked streets of Seattle gleamed under the overcast sky as Thomas Hale stepped onto the stage, his heart pounding like the distant thunder rolling in from Puget Sound. He scanned the sea of faces in the auditorium, searching for the familiar ones that had promised to be there, the ones that had packed his suitcase with awkward hugs and half-spoken well wishes just 4 years ago. But the row where his family should have sat was empty, a gaping void amid the cheering parents and siblings, and in that instant, the weight of their absence crashed down harder than any storm. His name echoed through the speakers, met with polite applause from strangers, and as he gripped the diploma, the paper crinkling in his trembling fingers, Thomas felt the first crack in his carefully built armor. They had known, of course, about the boyfriend he had left behind in freshman year, about the pride flags pinned to his dorm wall, about the quiet declaration over a tense family dinner last Christmas. And now, on the day he was supposed to shine, they had chosen silence over him, their absence a louder rejection than any words could scream. Thomas forced a smile for the dean, nodding as the flash of cameras captured the moment, but inside, the betrayal burned like acid. He had driven 12 hours from their small Texas ranch to this rainy corner of the world, chasing dreams of architecture and independence, only to realize that some distances could not be bridged by highways or hope. As he descended the steps, weaving through clusters of graduates hugging their loved ones, a knot of grief tightened in his chest, whispering that maybe he had always been too much, too different, for the life they had mapped out back home. The ceremony blurred into a haze of congratulations and forced small talk, the air thick with the scent of fresh flowers and damp wool coats. Thomas lingered near the exits, his phone clutched like a lifeline, willing it to buzz with a delayed apology, a frantic excuse about traffic or flights. But the screen stayed dark, mocking him with notifications from classmates posting their triumphant selfies. He slipped outside into the drizzle, the cool mist kissing his flushed cheeks, and leaned against the brick wall of Husky Stadium, the university's sprawling campus stretching out like a promise half-kept. Seattle had been his refuge, with its fog-shrouded hills and coffee shops buzzing with artists and tech dreamers, a far cry from the dusty plains of Amarillo where Sundays meant church and secrets stayed buried. Here, Thomas had found fragments of himself in late-night study sessions at the architecture library, sketching soaring bridges that defied gravity, much like he had tried to defy the expectations weighing him down. His roommate, Javier, a wiry film major from LA with a laugh that could disarm anyone, had been the first to pull him into the city's underbelly of queer bars and poetry slams, places where vulnerability was currency, not shame. But today, as the rain pattered on his gown, those fragments felt scattered, like the cherry blossoms littering the quad in spring. He thought of his mother, Ellen, with her flower-dusted aprons and gentle hymns, and his father, Roy, whose calloused hands had built their ranch from nothing, both of them frozen in that video call last month when he said the words, "I met someone. A guy. And I love him." Their faces had crumpled, not with rage, but with a sorrow that cut deeper, the kind that said he was breaking something sacred they could not name. Thomas peeled off the gown, folding it carefully over his arm, the fabric heavy with unspoken regrets. He needed air, real air, not the recycled stuff of auditoriums and expectations. Walking toward the light rail station, he dodged clusters of families spilling out, their laughter a stark contrast to the hollow echo in his ears. The train rattled in, graffiti-streaked cars packed with commuters oblivious to his private unraveling. He found a seat by the window, watching the city blur past, the space needle piercing the clouds like a defiant spike. By the time he reached his apartment in Capitol Hill, the neighborhood alive with rainbow crosswalks and muraled walls, exhaustion had settled in his bones. The building was a converted Victorian, its creaky stairs lined with bikes and potted ferns, a haven for misfits like him. Javier was out filming a short doc on the markets, so the place was quiet, save for the hum of the fridge and the distant honk of traffic. Thomas dropped his keys on the scarred oak table, the diploma landing beside them like an accusation. He poured a glass of cheap Merlot from the box in the cupboard, the wine staining his lips as he scrolled through social media, half hoping, half dreading a post from home. There it was, buried in his aunt's feed, a photo of his sister Lila at a local rodeo, captioned with prayers for family unity. No mention of him, no tag, just the vast American heartland unmarred by his absence. The glass trembled in his hand, and he set it down before it shattered. Sleep came fitfully that night, dreams tangled with stage lights and empty seats, waking him to the gray dawn filtering through his blinds. Monday meant internships, blueprints, the grind of proving he belonged in this city of reinvention. But as he showered, the hot water sluicing over his lean frame, marked by the faint scars of childhood falls from hay bales, Thomas made a vow to himself. He would not let their silence define him. Not today, not ever. The architecture firm was a glass-walled haven in Belltown, overlooking the ferry lanes to Bainbridge Island, where interns like him drafted elevations for sustainable high-rises. His mentor, Carla Voss, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s with silver-streaked hair and a penchant for brutal honesty, clapped him on the back that morning. "Congrats, kid. Saw your name in the program. Proud of you." Her words landed like a bomb, simple and unadorned, the kind of affirmation he craved. Work blurred into evenings of takeout pho from the Vietnamese spot on Broadway, shared with Javier over recaps of bad dates and worse auditions. Javi, with his easy grin and stories of Hollywood rejects, had become the brother Thomas never knew he needed. One night, as they sprawled on the threadbare couch watching an old episode of Queer as Folk, Javi turned serious. "You gonna call them? Or wait it out?" Thomas stared at the screen, the characters tangled in passion and pain. "I don't know. Feels like waiting for a storm to pass, but what if it just settles in?" Javi squeezed his shoulder. "Then you dance in the rain, hermano. Seattle's got plenty." Weeks turned to months, the wound scabbing over with routine. Thomas threw himself into designs, his sketches evolving from rigid lines to fluid curves, inspired by the city's bridges arching over inlets like lovers' arms. He even dipped a toe back into dating, swiping through apps that promised connection amid the pixels. There was the barista with the tattooed forearms, sweet but fleeting, and the lawyer whose intensity mirrored his own but fizzled in the face of long hours. Then came Alex Rivera, at a gallery opening in Pioneer Square. The space was a converted warehouse, brick walls hung with abstract oils that bled colors like emotions unchecked. Thomas had gone alone, nursing a gin and tonic, when Alex approached, his dark eyes catching the light like polished obsidian. "You look like you were analyzing the structural integrity of that canvas," Alex said, his voice a low rumble with a hint of Chicago accent. Thomas laughed, surprised. "Architect. It's a habit. And you?" "Documentary filmmaker. Trying to capture the cracks in things." Alex's smile was crooked, disarming, his frame athletic from weekend hikes in the Cascades, dressed in a fitted Henley that hugged his broad shoulders. They talked for hours, the crowd thinning around them, words flowing from art to ambition to the quiet fears that kept them up at night. Alex had grown up in a sprawling Windy City family, Catholic roots tangled with progressive edges, and he understood the ache of half-accepted truths. By closing time, they exchanged numbers, a spark igniting in the damp night air as they walked to the water taxi. Their first date was at Gasworks Park, the old gasification plant turned relic amid wildflower meadows, the city skyline a jagged silhouette against the sunset. They spread a blanket, shared falafel wraps, and as the stars pricked the velvet sky, Alex's hand found the omas, fingers interlacing with a gentleness that belied the storm brewing back home. When they kissed, slow and searching, under the shadow of the rusting towers, Thomas felt seen, truly seen, for the first time in months. But the idyll shattered on a crisp October morning, as leaves turned gold along the Burke-Gilman Trail. Thomas' phone lit up with a text from Lila. "Dad posted something. You need to see." Heart pounding, he clicked the link, a local Amarillo news site blaring the headline. "Local father speaks out on son's lavish lifestyle in Sin City." The article quoted Roy, his voice steady in a grainy video, decrying the perils of urban decay and moral slippage, alluding to Thomas' choices without naming them, but the implication hung like smoke. The betrayal sliced deep, not just the words, but the public stage, turning private pain into spectacle for their tight-knit community. Thomas sat frozen in his kitchen, the coffee going cold, as nausea roiled. Alex arrived unannounced, bearing croissants from the bakery down the block, and held him through the sobs that racked his body, the first real unraveling since graduation. "Why now?" Thomas whispered, face buried in Alex's shirt, the fabric damp with his tears. "What did I do to make them hate me this much?" Alex stroked his hair, voice steady. "It's not hate, Tom. It's fear. Theirs. But that doesn't make it right." The days blurred into a fog of anger and isolation. Thomas skipped work, sketches abandoned on his desk, the firm's gleaming models mocking his stalled creativity. Friends rallied. Javi organizing a game night that dissolved into heartfelt toasts. Carla sending care packages of sketchbooks and herbal teas. But the wound festered, doubts creeping in like Seattle fog. Was he too bold, too out, chasing a life that demanded everything? Alex became his anchor, their nights filled with whispered confessions on the couch, bodies entwining in a dance of comfort and desire. In the dim glow of string lights, Alex traced the lines of Thomas' back, mapping scars both visible and not, murmuring promises of tomorrow. Yet even in passion, the shadow lingered, Thomas' mind drifting to the ranch, to the boy he had been, hiding crushes on cowboys and faded jeans. The crisis peaked at Thanksgiving, when an email from Ellen arrived, polite and pained. "We miss you, but this path. It's not us. Stay safe." The words, so measured, unleashed a torrent. Thomas drafted replies, deleted them, paced the apartment until the floorboards groaned. In desperation, he turned to Alex's world, the lens of a camera. "Let's tell your story," Alex suggested one evening, as they watched ferries slice the sound from Alki Beach. "Not for revenge. For you. For the kids back in places like Amarillo, staring at empty seats." Thomas hesitated, the idea terrifying, exhilarating. What if it makes it worse? What if it sets you free? They filmed in snippets, raw and unpolished. Thomas walking the waterfront, voiceover layering memories of dusty sunsets and forbidden glances, archival photos from home, blurred for privacy. Interviews with Javi and Carla, their words weaving a tapestry of chosen family. Alex edited late into nights, his focus fierce, the project a bridge between Thomas' pain and possibility. As winter deepened, snow dusting the Olympics like powdered sugar, the video took shape. Titled Bridges Unbuilt, it chronicled not just rejection, but resilience, the architecture of a heart rebuilding itself plank by plank. Thomas watched the rough cut in their living room, tears streaming as his own voice filled the space. "They skipped my graduation because I'm gay, but I'm still standing. And maybe that's the real degree." Uploading it felt like leaping from the Aurora Bridge, wind whipping doubts away. Alex hit publish on a queer media platform, and they waited, breath held, as views ticked up. By morning, it had thousands, shares rippling through Seattle's networks, then beyond, to Chicago feeds and Texas timelines. The twist came swift and seismic. Local news picked it up, Como running a segment that evening, the anchor's voice grave. A young man's poignant plea goes viral, sparking debate on family and acceptance. Thomas' phone exploded, messages from strangers, supporters, even a hesitant olive branch from Lila, watched it, crying, "Call me." But the city watched, truly watched, as protests formed outside the studio, rainbow flags waving alongside signs demanding dialogue. A panel at the Seattle Public Library invited Thomas, the room packed with faces from all walks, parents grappling with their own truths, queer youth eyes wide with recognition, activists ready to amplify. He spoke from the heart, voice steady now, the empty seat a ghost he could name. "It's not about forgiveness yet," he said, Alex's hand warm in his under the table. "It's about building something new, where no one stands alone." The backlash hit too, trolls spewing vitriol in comments, echoes of his father's words twisted into weapons. Roy called then, the line crackling with distance, his voice rough. "Saw the video, son. Didn't mean for it to go like this. Ellen wants you home. For Christmas. Please." Thomas gripped the receiver, heart fracturing anew. Alex watched from across the room, eyes questioning. "They'll think on it," he replied, hanging up before the tears came. Healing was not linear, a truth Alex captured in a follow-up short, the camera lingering on Thomas' sketches now alive with color, bridges spanning chasms of memory. They hiked Discovery Park one dawn, the forest path slick with dew, and there, amid cedars towering like sentinels, Thomas proposed a future, move in together. Make this our foundation. Alex's yes was a kiss sealed against the salt air, their laughter mingling with gulls' cries. Christmas came, not in Amarillo, but in Seattle's embrace. Thomas hosted a potluck in the apartment, tables groaning under tamales from Java's mom, pecan pies echoing home, Carla regaling with firm anecdotes. Lila arrived unannounced, her hug fierce, whispers of sorries and learnings bridging the miles. No call from Roy, but Ellen sent a card, handwritten, proud, in my way. Build high, Thomas. The words, tentative, planted seeds. As snow fell soft on the city, Thomas stood at the window with Alex, arms encircled, watching lights twinkle like distant approvals. The twist had not mended all fractures, but it had forged visibility from void, a city's gaze turning witness to warmth. In the quiet, he traced the skyline, his own design, and knew family was not blood alone, but the hands that held you through the rain. The ranch faded to memory, a chapter closed with grace, while Seattle pulsed onward, its rhythm his own. And in that pulse, love, raw and relentless, promised tomorrows unskipped, unwatched only by stars. The new year dawned crisp and unforgiving, with January winds howling off the sound like unresolved arguments. Thomas woke to the scent of Alex's coffee brewing, the aroma grounding him as he replayed the holidays in his mind, the potluck's laughter a fragile shield against the ache of Roy's silence. He had chosen presence over pursuit, inviting Lila to stay a week, her stories of ranch life peeling back layers of their shared past, but the absence of their parents lingered like frost on the windows. Work at the firm ramped up, Carla assigning him lead on a community center redesign in the Central District, a space meant for queer youth and families navigating transitions. Irony laced every meeting, Thomas' voice steady as he pitched open layouts symbolizing welcome, but inside, doubts gnawed. Could he design belonging when his own felt provisional? Alex, deep in post-production on a festival submission, mirrored the intensity, their evenings a blur of takeout and tangled sheets, bodies seeking solace in rhythm. One February night, as sleep pelted the panes, they curled on the couch, a documentary on Stonewall flickering muted. Alex's fingers traced idle patterns on Thomas' thigh, voice soft. You ever think about going back? Facing them head on. Thomas shifted, the question stirring sediment. Every day? But what if it's just more empty seats? Then fill them yourself, Alex murmured, pulling him closer. You did with the video. The city's still talking. And it was. Invites trickled in, a TEDx talk in Portland, panels at local colleges, even a podcast from Austin probing the intersections of queerness and conservatism. Thomas navigated them with growing ease, his words honed like tools, but each spotlight unearthed fresh vulnerabilities. A heckler at the library event had spat, "Your kind tears families apart," the venom sticking like burrs. Spring thawed the edges, cherry blossoms exploding in pink fury along University Avenue. Thomas and Alex escaped to the San Juans for a weekend, ferrying to Orcas Island where trails wound through Madrona groves, the sea a constant companion. They hiked to Mountain Lake, shedding packs to swim in waters sharp as regret, emerging laughing, skin goose-pimpled. That night in a cedar cabin, fire crackling, Alex confessed his own ghosts, a brother lost to addiction, a mother who prayed away his orientation until she couldn't. We carry them all, don't we? Thomas said, their foreheads touching, breaths mingling. But we don't have to drown. The intimacy deepened, a quiet romance blooming amid the chaos. Alex proposed a joint project, a docuseries on queer architects reshaping cities, Thomas as both subject and collaborator. They scouted sites, from the glass spires of downtown to the vibrant murals of Fremont, cameras capturing not just structures, but stories etched in concrete. Meanwhile, home stirred. Lila texted updates. Mom asks about you. Dad grumbles at the TV when your name comes up. Roy had watched the video, she said, alone in the den, the screen glow illuminating lines etched deeper by years. Thomas pondered replies, crafting messages that balanced boundary and bridge, building something here. Hope you're well. Summer heatwave hit Seattle like an intruder, the usual drizzle yielding to blue skies that baked the asphalt. The firm broke ground on the community center, Thomas overseeing the pour of foundations, the wet concrete a metaphor for solidifying intent. At the site, he met Kai, a young contractor with a buzz cut and easy swagger, whose offhand "you're that guy from the video" sparked a camaraderie born of shared margins. Java's film premiered at SJFF, a raucous crowd at the Egyptian Theater cheering his gritty take on immigrant dreams. Thomas and Alex sat front row, hands linked, the applause a wave crashing over them. Backstage, amid hugs and champagne flutes, Alex pulled Thomas aside. We're good at this. Us, against the world. But the world intruded. A tabloid piece from Texas amplified Roy's interview, twisting it into a culture war salvo. Pundits on cable decrying coastal elites corrupting heartland values. Though mass inbox flooded with support and slurs, the noise amplifying his isolation. He lashed out at Alex one night, words sharp as rebar. "You get to film this, turn pain into art. I live it." Alex recoiled, hurt flashing in his eyes. "I'm in it with you, Tom. Every frame." The fight simmered into silence, days passing in polite distances. Thomas threw himself into the build, dawned patrols of the site, where earth movers growled like beasts. Carla noticed, her office door always ajar. "Talk to me, Hale, or I'll assign you porta-potty duty." He unloaded over lunch at Elliott Bay Book Company, the harbor's gleam mocking his turmoil. "She's trying. In her way," Carla said of Ellen, "but ways change slow. You're allowed to build without waiting." Reconciliation came tentative, Alex showing up at the site with tacos and an apology etched in his posture. They ate on a half-raised beam, feet dangling over progress. "I forgot, sometimes, how raw it is," Alex admitted. "But I love you. All of it." Thomas leaned into him, the sun warming his back. "Love you too. Mess and all." Fall foliage painted the Cascades in fire, and with it, a decision crystallized. Thomas booked tickets to Amarillo, Alex insisting on coming, their hands a united front. The flight west was turbulent, mirroring the churn in his gut, landing in the flat expanse where horizons stretched unbroken. The ranch house stood as memory served, weathered siding, porch swing creaking in the wind, the air thick with mesquite and memory. Ellen met them at the door, apron tied, eyes red-rimmed but open. Roy lingered in the kitchen, hands clasped like prayer, his nod a concession. Dinner was strained, silverware clinking against plates of brisket and cornbread, conversations skirting edges. Lila bridged gaps with chatter of her nursing classes, but tension hummed. After, as stars wheeled overhead, Thomas and Roy walked the fence line, the silence companionable at first. "Saw your building on the news," Roy said finally, gravel crunching under boots. "Looks strong." "It is," Thomas replied, heart thumping. "Like me." Roy stopped, facing him, lines of regret mapping his face. "I skipped that day because I was scared. Of losing you. Of what folks would say. Didn't know how to show up." Thomas swallowed, words spilling. "You lost me anyway. By not trying." The older man nodded, tears glinting. "Working on it. Late, but trying." Ellen joined them later, her embrace fierce, whispers of sorries weaving repair. Alex watched from the porch, his presence a quiet strength, the night air cooling old fires. Back in Seattle, the visit lingered like aftertaste, bittersweet. The community center ribbon-cutting drew crowds, Thomas speaking to a sea of faces, his voice carrying. "This space is for the skipped, the unseen. But we're building bridges, one beam at a time." Alex's series launched to acclaim, Sundance buzzing with their story, panels probing the human cost of division. Yet in quiet moments, doubts resurfaced. Was forgiveness a bridge or a trap? Winter returned, holidays hushed, but growth rooted. Lila visited again, bringing Roy's sketch of the ranch, a tentative olive branch. Thomas framed it beside his diplomas, a mosaic of fractures mending. One eve, as rain lashed the windows, Alex knelt by the tree, ring glinting. "Marry me, Tom. Let's design forever." Tears blurred the yes, their kiss a vow amid twinkling lights. The city watched, as always, but now with warmth, stories of their union rippling through feeds. Thomas, architect of hearts and homes, knew. Twists turned not just heads, but lives toward light. Spring unfurled with tentative greens, the community center humming with first classes, laughter echoing off fresh walls that Thomas had willed into being. He walked the halls daily, touching railings smoothed by hands like his, young faces lighting at his presence, their questions a mirror to his younger self. Alex's proposal hung like a talisman, the ring's simple platinum on the mass finger, a quiet revolution against the voids of before. Wedding plans wove into their rhythm, small and intentional. Vows at a waterfront chapel in Ballard, reception at the park where they first kissed. Javi as best man, scripting toasts with flair, Carla officiating, her pragmatism laced with unexpected poetry. Invites went out, selective, to those who had shown up when blood had not. Yet shadows lengthened. A letter from Roy arrived, postmarked Amarillo, words scrawled in familiar block. Progress here. Church groups talking acceptance. Miss you both. The gesture warmed, but wariness tempered joy. Thomas shared it with Alex over breakfast at Le Panier, croissants flaking as they parsed intent. He's reaching, Alex said, but you set the pace. Summer solstice brought heat and hustle, the firm promoting Thomas to junior associate, his designs gracing billboards along I-5. Alex landed a grant for a series on rural queer lives, scouting trips pulling him south, phone calls bridging miles with I love yous. Lila called mid-July, voice edged, dad's sick. Doc say prostate, early but stubborn. Wants you here. The news landed like thunderclap, guilt and grief entwining. Thomas booked the red eye, Alex rearranging shoots to join. The ranch felt smaller upon return, dust motes dancing in shafts of sun slanting through blinds. Roy lay propped in the den, thinner, eyes hollow but kindling at Thomas' entrance. Son, he rasped, extending a hand. Glad you came. Ellen hovered, serving iced tea with trembling efficiency, the air thick with unsaid. They talked haltingly, of weather and work, skirting the chasm until evening, when Lila prompted, tell him about the talks, Dad. Roy cleared throat. Been speaking at the VFW. About that video. How I got it wrong. Folks listened some. Thomas sat beside the bed, Alex in the doorway shadow. It's a start, he said, voice thick. We all start somewhere. Nights blurred in the guest room. Alex arms a harbor, whispers dissecting the fragility. Roy's illness humanized him, stripping armor to reveal the man who had rocked Thomas to sleep, sung off-key hymns. Forgiveness flickered, not full flame, but ember. Back north, August rains cooled the fever, wedding prep resuming with renewed focus. They chose readings from Whitman, leaves of grass tangling love's tender lines. Rehearsal dinner at a Pike Place tavern, friends toasting futures bright. But betrayal echoed faint. An old family friend emailed, forwarding a church bulletin decrying gay marriage as abomination, Roy's name absent, but influence implied. Thomas crumpled it, fury flaring. Alex found him on the balcony, sound glittering below. Not all bridges hold, Alex soothed, but we build anyway. Ceremony day dawned luminous, October gold gilding the chapel. Thomas waited in vestry, suit tailored sharp, heart wild. Javi adjusted his boutonniere, grinning. You clean up nice, hail. Alex'll faint. Music swelled, Pachelbel's cannon weaving through stained glass. Alex entered, eyes locking, the world narrowing to that gaze. Vows exchanged, simple, in rain and rebuild, I choose you. Kiss sealed, cheers erupted, the city's pulse sinking with theirs. Reception spilled into twilight, dances under string lights, cakes layered with lemon and legacy. Honeymoon in the Olympics, cabins nestled in old growth, trails leading to hidden falls. They hiked unclothed by streams, bodies free, love a language of touch. Nights by fire, stories shared. Alex's first crush on a debate coach, Thomas' stolen glances at county fairs. Return brought routine laced with bliss, shared lease on a Fremont row house, walls hung with their art. Roy's updates steadied, treatments holding, Ellen sending quilt squares, stitches of amends. Crisis crested Thanksgiving, when Roy insisted on visiting, plane tickets booked unasked. Airport reunion awkward, hugs stiff, but Seattle's chill softened edges. Dinner at their table, turkey carved with care, conversations meandering to memory. I skipped that day, Roy admitted over pie, voice low. Biggest regret. Won't happen again. Thomas nodded, tears pricking. Means more than you know. Winter wove wonder, holidays hybrid. FaceTime with Lila, in person with chosen kin. Alex series aired, rural voices echoing Thomas, Sundance Awards following. Spring bloomed betrayal anew. A cousin posted rants, family ties fraying public, old wounds ripped. Thomas confronted via call, voice steel, choose sides or lose us. Silence followed, then severance, pain sharp but clarifying. Healing deepened, therapy sessions joint, unraveling threads. Thomas designed a memorial wing for the center, spaces for grief and growth. Summer solstice second year. They renewed informally at the park, rings polished, promises reaffirmed. City watched, stories evolving, from skipped to celebrated. Roy's remission announced casual, visit planned, bridges strengthening. Ellen arrived first, baking in their kitchen, whispers of pride. Full circle came autumn, family dinner inclusive, Roy toasting though mass work, eyes wet. Not perfect, he said, but present. Thomas raised glass, Alex hand in his. To presences that matter. The twist, once viral storm, settled to steady light. Cities gaze a gentle witness. Love, in its labyrinth, led home, not to origins, but to origins remade. Years layered like sedimentary rock, time eroding sharp edges, Seattle evolving with them. Thomas climbed firm ranks, partnering on eco-districts in South Lake Union, structures rising green and graceful. Alex films garnered Emmys, his lens turning toward climate queers, intersections of identity and earth. Their home filled, bookshelves groaning, plants thriving under south windows, a studio where Alex edited, Thomas sketched. Anniversaries marked quiet, ferry rides at dusk, picnics in Discovery, bodies reacquainting in sheets scented with salt. Roy's health held, visits biannual, Amarillo to Seattle flights routine. Ellen integrated, quilting circles with Carla's wife, stories swapped over tea. Lila relocated west, nursing in Tacoma, family orbits aligning. Yet conflict simmered subterranean. A firm project in Texas bid, though mass designs for a queer-inclusive rec center in Austin, stirred ghosts. Client meetings virtual at first, then in person, the city's heat oppressive, memories flooding. Hotel bar that night, after pitch, a colleague sidled close, breath boozy. Heard about your family drama. Brave, coming back. Thomas stiffened, words clipped, it's history. Focus on the build. Alex sensed the fracture upon return, airport embrace tight. Talk, he urged, over diner fries. It raked up everything, Thomas confessed, like they're still skipping. Alex nodded, thumb circling ring. Then we face it. Together. The project won, groundbreaking in Hill Country spring, Thomas overseeing from afar, then on site. Roy's call came mid-build. Proud, son. Even if it's not our way. Gratitude swelled, tentative trust. Summer brought surprise. Lila pregnant, shotgun wedding to her partner, a soft-spoken engineer from Portland. Thomas walked her aisle, Alex best man, vows echoing his own. Fall crisis. Roy's skin showed shadow, metastasis quiet but insistent. Family converged. Hospital in Amarillo sterile, air heavy. Thomas flew solo first, Alex trailing shoots. Bedside's vigil, Roy gripped his hand. Don't skip this, son. Tell him I love. Thomas nodded, throat closed, Ellen weeping soft. Return north shattered, grief a thief stealing sleep. Alex held vigils, words inadequate, touches eloquent. Javi crashed couch, films paused for walks in Green Lake, ducks indifferent to sorrow. Therapy solo now, though mass voice cracking, he came around too late. Counselor gentle, late is still time, honor it. Memorial plan joint, Seattle service with Texas stream, eulogies weaving Roy as flawed father, quiet ally late bloomed. Ellen spoke last, voice steady, he learned to show up, because of you. Healing halved him, but whole in Alex's gaze. Winter wove widowhood for Ellen, her move north proposed, accepted, guest room to suite. Spring bloomed adoption talks, papers filed for a boy from foster, eyes wide like Thomas once. Kai, now Minter, quipped, architects make great dads. Naming Elias, after Alex's brother, home-filled cries and chaos, bottles warmed midnight. Crisis crested year 3, firm merger threatening Thomas role, politics queerphobic veiled. He fought, allies rallying, Carla fierce, not on my watch. Victory Pyrrhic, promotion deferred, but integrity intact. Summer solstice, Elias first steps toward them, laughter pure. Lila birthed niece, namesake Ellen, family web tightening. Fall twist, an old video resurfaced, twisted by podcasters into martyr myth, backlash brewing. Thomas addressed public, calm, not tragedy, triumph, in love's quiet work. City responded, fundraisers for the center, stories shared. Winter holidays hybrid, Elias toddling amid lights, Ellen baking, ghost gentle. Anniversary 5th, vow renewal intimate, beach at Golden Gardens, waves lapping promises. Roy's legacy lived in bridges built, literal and lithe. Thomas, father now, designer of destinies, new. Skips became steps forward, twists to truths unveiled. Love, enduring architect, raised them all. Elias turned 2 amid cherry confetti, cake smeared on chubby cheeks, the backyard party a riot of balloons and backyard barbecue. Thomas chased him through sprinklers, Alex filming candid, their laughter a symphony drowning old echoes. Ellen doted, spoiling with stories of Texas twisters, her silver hair catching sun like wisdom's halo. Firm stabilized post-merger, Thomas portfolio swelling with awards, a monograph published on resilient design, forward by Carla praising his heart. Alex latest, on foster queer youth, premiered at Tribeca, dedications to Elias whispered on stage. Yet undercurrents pulled. Lila confided marital strains, her partner's job loss fraying edges, counseling suggested. Thomas mediated, family calls tense, echoes of his own near misses. Summer escaped to the San Juans again, cabin same, but now with toddler chaos, Elias collecting shells, eyes mirroring Thomas blue. Nights, after bedtime tales, Alex and Thomas walked beaches, barefoot in surf. Remember our first here, Alex murmured, arms slung casual. Thomas smiled, salt stung, skinny dipping, thought we'd drown in each other. They laughed, kisses deepening, desire undimmed by diapers. Fall brought betrayal veiled, an anonymous leak at work, Thomas' personal video from years back doctored, circulated in conservative circles, painting him villain. HR investigated, support poured, but humiliation stung, nights sleepless. Alex raged quiet, legal consults, public statement drafted, privacy breached, story mine. Resolution swift, leaker outed cousin distant, ties severed final. Ellen comforted, some skips are theirs to bear. Healing and harvest, Elias' first words dada layered, pointing bridges in books. Winter wrapped warm, holidays with extended kin, Javis new beau charming, Kai's partner grilling tales. Spring crisis, Elias fever spiked, hospital nights blurring, pediatricians calm but Thomas terror raw. Alex held vigil, hands clasped over crib rails. He's strong, like you, Alex soothed, dawn breaking. Recovery slow, but sure, trust and fragility learned. Summer solstice, family trip Montana, glacier Peace Peaks piercing skies, hikes gentle with carrier packs. Lila joined, marriage mending, baby niece gurgling. Fall twist positive, center expansion funded, Thomas vision for healing gardens, plaques honoring skipped dreams. City gala, Alex presenting award, speech weaving their arc, from empty seats to full lives. Winter announced second child, surrogacy journey begun, joy tentative. Anniversary 7th, private chef dinner home, Elias asleep upstairs, vows whispered anew. Roy's birthday marked planting tree in backyard, mesquite stubborn, Ellen tending. Thomas, amid blueprints and bottles, reflected, twists turned tables, watches became welcomes. Love, patient builder, endured. Surrogacy bloomed summer, ultrasound revealing girl, names debated over gelato walks. Elias prepped big brother, toys shared tentative. Firm project landmark, Seattle Queer Archive, Thomas design glass and green, preserving stories. Alex doc Oscar buzzed, interviews endless, but home anchored. Fall harvest fair, family outing Puyallup, carousels spinning, cotton candy sticky. Lila announced divorce amicable, custody shared, relief palpable. Winter birth dramatic, snowstorm raging, hospital dash, daughter arriving cries clear, Nora, after Nora Jones, voice of comfort. Nights double, feeds and fevers, but bonds tripled, Alex lullabies soft. Spring crisis financial, grant cut for Alex next, freelance lean, Thomas bonus stretched. Budget talks tense, but unity held, side gigs teaching. Summer solstice park picnic, kids tumbling grass, Ellen reminiscing. Fall betrayal minor, old friend outed ex, stirring mud, but maturity dismissed. Healing in harvest moons, Nora crawling to Thomas, Elias drawing families whole. Winter holidays epic, kin converging, tree trimmed collaborative. Anniversary 9th, cabin retreat, kids with Javi, reconnection fierce. Twists now ripples, city chronicling their chapter, from viral to venerable. Love, resilient rafter, roof them sure. Decade dawned reflective, Elias schoolbound, backpack slung proud. Nora chattered endless, curls wild. Home expanded, addition though mass design, studio for Alex. Firm pinnacle, principal title, legacy projects. Alex studio thrived, series greenlit streaming. Family fused, Lila partnered anew, Ellen dating widower gentle. Spring crisis health, though mass checkup flagged anxiety, pills prescribed, therapy deepened. Summer solstice beach day alky, kites soaring, kids building castles. Fall twist, documentary on Thomas' life, Alex directing, premiered local, Tears Collective. Winter announced retirement dreams, travels plotted. Anniversary 11th, Paris imagined, but Seattle sufficed, Eiffel replicas in cake. Roy's tree fruited, mesquite pods ground coffee, toast to absent. Thomas, elder now in spirit, new, skips scripted strength, watches wove wonder. Love, eternal engineer, eternal.